Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Lucid, and we're jumping back into our game with Late Age Mictlan. It's turn 28, and as a quick recap of last episode, we were setting up major traps. We were setting up a huge trap for his army, which I was expecting. I would be very shocked if he doesn't walk into it. But the question remains, if he does walk into it, did we bite off more than we could chew? And this was something I did not test, like with test games or anything like that. I was kind of just using intuition for what I thought was appropriate. So we will see how that goes. I was also setting traps for vampires who have been raiding me nonstop, and they're being very annoying. And killing them is only kind of meh, because they're going to come back out like that turn. Or, one turn later. So, anyway, we'll see if we catch anything this turn. Turn 28. Did I do outgoing diplomacy last turn? We're going to check that real quick, actually. Turn 27. Did I do outgoing diplomacy? We did. Okay. So turn 28, we'll start with diplomacy. We're going to leave some suspense as for how that battle goes. A message has arrived from Man. Greetings, Mictlan, Utgard, Pythium. We bear ill news. Midgard has launched a surprise attack across the lake and has defeated the flower of our forces as we were trying to wrest the throne location from them. Now that they have a new prophet, their forces are expected to now return to the Long Coast and attempt to take the other throne they can access from there and gain ascension. These thrones are either under your control or within your grasp. Wardens of Avalon. A message from Midgard. Bloodmen, we've beaten back Avalon, but I'm sending this message. But I'm sending them last chance to turn against Ulm. Utgard and Pythium may be cooperating against Midgard. We expect Utgard to smash Midgard very soon, yet we see. Would be good for Midgard if Avalon could be turned against Ulm. Let them waste resources while we get an army back for sieges. After Ulm, we then use Avalon against the Utgard menace. If Utgard goes somewhere else, then we're back to fighting Avalon. We think Avalon are hopeless slaves, though, but Utgard be problems requiring big solutions. Pythium is a small annoyance, like the dog biting the heel. But dogs biting the heel at the same time as giants swing clubs at head, well, dogs is also a problem. So that's actually kind of funny. That was... A lot of times I don't really read through all of Midgard's messages, but that was a funny one. A message from Midgard just to me. Bloodmen, we tell you 25 Ghoul Guardians. So he's hoping I take this fortress from Ulm, which I do. Okay, so he's just repeating that he's out against Ulm, which is fine, but he's not really attacking Ulm. I mean, like, if we look, there's nothing up here. Anyway, don't want to share, or I don't want to give away anything from the strategic map as to how the battle goes, so hope you did not have any surprises ruined. First battle, he's attacking me with some vampires, and I am prepared. I've got a bunch of jaguars. This is, like, deep in my heartland, where he's flying these vampires into. And this is not going to go well for him. So my imps are going to jump into the back line and tie up his vampires, so they're not going to probably summon many more skeletons since they're engaged in melee. Meanwhile, my jaguars are going to run forward and kill the slaves he's managed to summon. And then with that, they're going to charge in. And that little imp summoning actually made a big difference, because if they were... I actually wonder kind of what afflictions they got. If they had kept summoning, it may have been a big enough wave of skeleton warriors that we would have been tied up in combat too long and some of our jaguars could have died. Let's see if these guys got afflicted at all. I don't know if we can tell from this, but we're about to find out. No, we can't really tell. Oh, this guy has 2 but none of them are super important. This guy has 1. Lost an arm. None of these are super important afflictions, so anyway. But we're successful in killing all of his dudes. It did cost us a Jaguar Warrior, whereas it didn't really cost him much, just those vampire turns. Because they will respawn, maybe an affliction or 2. But I can't complain. We are attacking Ulm here, and this is inside the fort. Or no, where was that? I'm not actually sure. Here. Okay, so we took the throne from him without any resistance. He is attacking us here. I think this is the big battle. Yeah, okay. So he has moved in all his dudes. He's brought with him some vampires, and this is enough to do a small little communion. But it is probably not going to be enough. If he brought all 8 vampires, we might be in a bit more trouble, but I think we're okay. Okay. So let's zoom out here, and let's watch this in full form. There's a few things I want to pay attention to as this battle starts. One is how well does my buffing work? You can see we have a ton of PD in the front here too, and some of the PD are actually Jaguars, so they'll get hit by Divine Blessing. I don't think I mentioned that in the last episode. Part of my trap was actually jumping up PD too. But yeah, so let's pay attention here at the beginning on how the buffing goes. So, okay. Most of the wooden warriors targeted here in the middle and then on my my birds. Hopefully the next round we'll get some of these flanks. But like here, if we click, like all these guys have their protection up to 15, which is pretty solid. Especially when you consider they have a lot of HP given both their forms. Now you can see a lot of the bugs that were summoned have flown up. They haven't landed yet, but we'll see them landing back here in a moment. The next wave of wooden warriors has gone off, and you can see it's hitting my Jaguar flanks, but kind of not covering it super well. But almost all my flyers now have high protection, like 15. So I got pretty good coverage. Like this guy doesn't have it. Or no, he did have it. I forget my Aussies only get 10 protection since they have no natural armor. And they have some base natural protection, so they don't get... The Ocelotls don't get as much benefit from wooden warriors as everyone else. Because all my other troops have armor, but they don't have any base natural protection. And that base natural protection is what Bark Skin increases. Okay, there goes Bloodlust. Now, Bloodlust does not affect these guys. But you can see it does affect these guys. And their strength, so that's the enchantment plus 4, their strength is kind of through the roof, and it's going to be even crazier once I get kills. And they are going to get kills. Okay, now if we look back here, you can see some of the bugs are already in here. And all the bugs that are back here are going to be distracting these guys. It is not stopping them from shooting into my ranks with their crossbows. But we have even more coming, and my flyers are just starting to land. And you can see they just cause mass carnage. And the skeletons they've summoned, it's not even really doing anything. And the vampires are just getting popped by my sacreds. Now this guy's kind of tough. Okay, he's dead. Now these archers have turned around and they're shooting right into my Eagle Warriors, and so I'm going to lose a lot of Eagle Warriors to this. Because they are pretty killy. But we kill things really fast. The other thing you can tell is some of my guys are affected with decay. It's like this guy's decayed, which is a death sentence for all of my human troops. So up here too, most people who get affected by decay, like you can see a lot of guys are decayed up here, they're basically going to die. So that's unfortunate. But it would be much worse if we couldn't kill these knights quickly, because then they could decay everyone. But as it stands right now, we're killing them so quickly that not that many of our dudes are getting decayed. And now almost all the knights are gone, which means our forces are going to close in on the rangers. Now, one thing that I'm kind of looking at too is my province defense. I'm not sure if I'm really happy with them. Their aim is not great. Like if we look at some of these projectiles, You know, like they're coming back here, like they're hitting my flyers. It's kind of not good news. And as their troops get fewer and fewer, those ranged projectiles are going to target my guys selectively more and more. And it looks like their armies are breaking. So it was not a cheap fight for us, and a lot of the bugs are not really doing that much. You can see a lot of them are back here. So some of that was probably wasteful of nature gems, but it's hard to account for how many of my sacreds would have died if attack was directed at them and not at a bug. And that adds up, because each sacred that would have died earlier on wouldn't have gone on and killed some other dude, and then that dude would have been around to attack someone else. So hard to account for exactly how much those flying little bugs helped, but okay, there we go. At the end of the battle, you can see decay taking its toll on a few guys, but we didn't actually lose that many people to only decay. So that was it. That was the huge battle. And if we look at the summary, the casualties were enormous. Ulm lost everything. He lost two of his commanders of Ulm. He lost a Ghoul Guardian commander, which is not exactly cheap. One of the Hulkmeisters, two of the Hulkmeisters lived or retreated at least. He lost his vampires, a wolf herd, all of his cap-only Black Templar, who were very expensive. It's 65 gold. Losing 50 of them. That's what, 650 times 5? So that's like over 3,000 gold. That's a ton of gold. Not to mention it's cap only, so we can't exactly replace those easily. That's kind of an end to the Black Templar for Ulm for a long time. He lost these Ghoul Guardians who are not cheap. That's another 100 gold or more. 200 gold. He lost 200, almost all of his Rangers. So that is 1,400. No. 2,400 gold worth of Rangers. And then all his Wolves. On our side, our losses were not trivial. We lost a fair amount, but considering that was his Doom stack, and this was only kind of like half our army, that was a pretty good trade for us. We lost 30 of our Eagle Warriors, so about half, which is a lot. We didn't lose many of our Jaguar Warriors, and we lost almost all of our Ocelotls. These guys did not have as high a protection after the Wooden Warriors buff, so that might have been part of the reason why the Eagle Warriors actually had a higher survival rate than these guys, who you would think, with higher base HP, would have survived better. But yeah, the Eagle Warriors actually were a bit more surviving. And the Jaguars did really, really well, though. We didn't lose very many of them. And the good thing, too, is especially since we killed, I think, almost all the Rangers that Ulm has, without ranged units, I don't really have to worry so much about the Jaguars. I'm fine having them close into melee. And then we still have our 30 PD. So, pretty epic battle there, if you do ask me. What the hell is this? Utgard pinged me with the scout here? Well, that's annoying. Maybe he was hoping I would move, but it's mine, bro. Might have been a mistake. Now, he does take this from me, so he moves back and took this, and I think it's just, a vampire, and then some of these heavy cav. The last now of the Black Templar. Okay. So, we are in a pretty good position now, but out of nowhere, we see a huge amount of dudes in his cap. Now, most of them are Ghoul Guardians, which is kind of crazy. I didn't know he had that many Ghoul Guardians. So if we have to go ahead, I thought most of his cap-only production was getting devoted to Black Templar, but apparently he's also been producing huge amounts of Ghoul Guardians. So, kind of crazy. I mean, I've played Late Age Ulm, and you kind of have to pick. You don't have a ton of resources. especially when he's put a couple other forts in his cap circle that are leeching away his cap circle resources. Like, he has a lot of forts in his cap circle. So, I don't know how he's getting all these dudes. I kind of even wonder if he's got some kind of army amplifying device, because I don't know how he has this many Ghoul Guardians, if that is indeed how many he has running around. Anyway, bunch of Thralls and Wolves. The Wolves and Thralls don't really count. And he's got Vampires that are going to be respawning here, so such is life. Fortunately, actually, some of our slaves retreated from this fight, and one of the provinces they retreated to was on top of this fort. Since it didn't get taken back, it was still technically considered ours, even though we moved an army off of it. So that's actually really super lucky again, because that's going to tie up any units he had in here. This is my current turn, by the way, and I haven't submitted it, so I can make changes. I've kind of got a few thoughts here. One is, I can attack here, which this army I can choose to move up, or I can choose to move this way. Now, if I move it this way, there's a chance I need to be ready to fight kind of the full force of all these dudes. I think I can do that. The Ghoul Guardians, they do a lot of damage, right? But luck is going to counteract that. The fatigue damage I don't really care about. I'm not going to be having a long, drawn-out fight against the Ghoul Guardians. And that's one of the things they do. Their attack does... we'll just pull up the unit real quick. The Black Halberd does armor-piercing fatigue damage. And it only affects sacred units, and it's AoE 1. But we're going to be killing them so fast, I'm not really worried about it. And my guys are not very fatigue-heavy units, since they don't really have heavy armor on. Okay, they're in severe heat, so actually they do get more fatigue than I thought they would. But that's okay. Anyway, so we're going to be running in here, and I've changed my formation again. I've put these guys at the front. I don't have archers to worry about, which actually, come to think of it. Okay, they're still on hold and attack. So they're at the front. They're going to be getting blessed like this. The reason I want them farther forward is because my flying units kind of took too much of a hit the last fight. They kind of got their way before my army, so I'm moving these guys farther forward. And I don't need arrow decoys, which was part of the reason I moved them back in that last fight. I don't need any arrow decoys, so they're at the front. They're going to be getting hit by wooden warriors a few times. And then charging into battle. Might give it... I think that's probably overkill. These guys are going to be firing their little hypnotize attack. So maybe we steal some Ghoul Guardians. And yeah, that's basically it. So we're going to move this way. I could move up here. The problem moving up there is I'm moving away from my other forces. So depending on how this battle goes, or, I may need to Deathball just to go sit on top of his cap. But I'm not totally sure. I kind of want to just take this fort, but I kind of also want to sit on top of his cap to lock down production. So I'm not totally sure. So anyway, we're moving here. I've got a big army which is coming up here. Now, he has a force here of 20 Black Templar, which I presume are either going to go defend this fort or come down here and attack this. I don't think he's going to attack it, but if he does, these guys who are trying to catch raiders back here are going to move up. And, yeah, they're going to kill these guys if they come in and attack. And then if they don't, then we have the option with this army that's going to be moving up to either reinforce the fort again or go and take these provinces from Ulm. The other thing I'm doing is preparing... I've got a kind of big group here. We can go take this from Midgard at some point. Right now, I moved these guys out here. I'm not totally sure why I moved out here. But anyway, I don't think I even site searched last turn. Yeah, I don't know why I moved up here. But anyway, I did. We're going to move back. I need to go site search these top provinces. Or these two right here. So, unfortunately, all ocean movement is map move 1 for effective purposes. So anyway, let's take a look at the army coming in here. Basically, we are doing blobs, and it's to get maximum blessing and wooden warriors efficiency, because I don't have a divine bless, so we've got this guy spamming out blessing, these two guys spamming out blessing, and then wooden warriors. And I don't know what he has here, so potentially I could get surprised, but I don't think so. I think whatever was here got moved in here. And then I'm going to have a bunch of options for next turn, where I can choose to kind of move off this fort and combine and then go attack on his cap. I can raid out from here and go take a bunch of provinces all in one go. I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. The only thing that's kind of guaranteed is that these guys probably get kicked off this. Yeah. The other thing I'm doing, I'm raiding here with a little swarm raiding squad with some slaves, which are going to get wooden warriored. They're on hold and attack, so they're going to sit here for 2 turns. They should all get covered by wooden warriors, and at the same time swarm will go off. And that will probably be enough to kill any light PD. And this is a kind of high-income province, so we'll be happy to take that back. These guys, we have ridiculous unrest here. 233. I don't know if I've seen unrest this high. So we're going to try to patrol this and get some of the unrest down. If there's heretics here, we'll get rid of them too. Yeah, so it says... Yeah, it looks like there's... Okay, there's 3 heretic squads here. So apparently I needed to be patrolling this, because I've now got a ridiculous amount of unrest. I thought the fertility cult was going to be cool, because they would keep my growth scales high, which it has. But I didn't realize how much unrest I was going to get from it, so I don't remember if patrolling will get rid of the fertility cult event, but Actually, we're going to pause and find out. I'll be right back. Okay, so I went and looked the event series up, and you can get rid of it in a couple ways. One is we can get rid of it by preaching. But I think there's a lot of actual dudes here, like little heretic dudes we're going to have to kill. So I don't know if preaching is going to do it. Yeah, so anyway, we're going to go ahead and patrol and hopefully kill those guys. Patrolling is another way to do it if we have at least 15 troops, which we do. There's a good chance we will end this event series, which I think is fine now since this province has been made almost worthless by it. And it's keeping an army tied up here, so I'll be happy to get rid of it. But it's going to cause me to lose my growth scales, and it'll probably kill off a little population. But we'll patrol it, we'll get it down. The swarm is actually probably going to be important if there are indeed like a bajillion heretics here like there were before. So, yeah, we'll see. If this army gets wiped out by like 100 heretics, that would actually be kind of funny. But heretics are pretty bad. So we'll see. We are also moving my King of Rain that I got a few turns ago up. And the goal here is, I'm having issues getting all these guys blessed. This is now a pretty big sacred army. And I would much rather have these guys on wooden warrior duty than on blessing duty. So when I get my King of Rain up, he can take over blessing, which will be next turn. And then these guys can go back to being... what their siege strength is? 5. They can go back to casting wooden warriors, which would be nice. We're also kind of homing in on Alt 7. Our research is still kind of crippled, but we're probably like 4 or 5 turns away. If I get turns to just research, which I put some of these guys back to researching, but unfortunately I'm kind of moving... what is this guy doing? Okay. Actually, we can probably put these guys up here. I don't really want them sitting around. Yeah, so we've basically 3 of our guys are researching, and they may get deployed when we go attack home too. And it may actually be... I'm not really worried about vampires attacking my fort this turn with this much PD. It will probably kill skeletons, but I could potentially have them come out and do wooden warriors on them, and that would make them extra good. If I'm worried about this getting raided, I'll probably do that. Anyway, and I've also got some slaves coming in here too, and the slaves are actually going to help siege this fort down. They've got okay siege value of 0.8, so this is a fair amount of siege strength. It probably is going to put this in like the 2-turn crack range. I actually can probably look here and see what my siege strength is. So this army here is 116, but a lot of this is not coming, so it's probably like 60 or 70 maybe. And then this army, which is coming in, is 70. So this is about 140. Yeah, we're probably 2 turns popping this fort. But it may be a bit longer. We'll see when we're on top. But yeah, we're probably 2 turns, because this army, which is coming up, is going to go on top. And when it's on top, it's going to pop it. So we're like a 2-turn pop on this fort, which is fine. Meanwhile, this guy's going to be here. I'm also moving a scout in here so we can potentially ping this. So that is basically that. I do want to talk about my outgoing messages. I do need to send a message back to Midgard because I forgot. So a message to Man. This is grave news. The grave news being talking about Midgard's throne count, and then him losing an army to it. My scouts leave much to be desired, but I have reports from Utgard that Midgard is nearing a throne victory. I do have vision of Utgard's massive army moving towards one of the Midgard thrones. I'm expecting he will take it. If he does not, the tribes of Mictlan might need to turn on Midgard. Though our hands are very much tied up with Ulm, whose massive army of 350 we have now killed to a man at the cost of scores of our brave sacreds. Yet Ulm is far from defeated, with dozens of immortal vampires attacking me every turn, and another couple hundred of heavy infantry cap-only troops ready to fight. While it's going to be very expensive to try to kill off Ulm, given that another 300 Ulmish heavy troops have appeared this turn out of nowhere, it had to be done. It had best be done now, before there are 30 to 40 vampire counts to plague the world. Having to fight these vampiric monsters every turn, no matter whether you've killed them or not, the turn before, is quite unsettling. I hope that I can finish Ulm off before things become too dire with Midgard, since I do not trust the pen nor the paper upon which Ulm might sign a peace treaty with. So I'm basically saying I want to kill Ulm off before I have to turn on Midgard. And I'm not going to turn on Midgard unless a throne victory is imminent, but I do need to think about building a palisade here. And I probably need to think about it quickly. The other thing I need to do is I need to send a message to Midgard where I say, yes, I believe that we have a nap 1. Sorry for the delayed response. Our scouts and messengers have been quite busy dealing with Ulm, dealing with the treacherous Ulm. While they still have a rather large army, I am, for the first time... Here, I'm going to pause it. Okay, so I finished typing it, and basically I said, while they still have a rather large army, I'm for the first time hopeful that we can handily deal with them. Feel free to fully focus your attentions on Man, Pythium, and Utgard. We'll be honest, we're a little worried that you're nearing throne victory. If we see you making moves to try to rush a throne victory, we'll need to change our diplomatic stance. But for now, we trust you much more than all our other neighbors. And then I'll say, in addition, please keep the peoples of Mictlan posted on the military tactics of Man, since we trust that his treacherous nature will turn on us again soon. And then I'll ask, do you know what he has researched? Okay. So I'm kind of telling... I don't know who I want to win, actually. I think LA Man is actually the scarier nation. But Midgard is a very strong nation, and he's very large, and he's nearing a throne victory. So I'm not sure who I want to win, but I definitely want as much information from both of them as I can. And I definitely want peace with both of them while I eat Ulm. So... anyway, I expect that Man is actually going to turn on Ulm and take some of these territories, but I don't know. He does have a big army here, and if he lost a big army, and I'm not sure where it was, with Midgard, it's highly likely he is not going to want to... I think, actually, this is a good place to have a scout. It's highly likely that he's not going to want to move his troops into an aggressive position. So we're going to kind of move these scouts around, but I think that's about it for this turn. My big limiting factor right now is getting my research going. I'm getting another lab here, which will allow me to recruit mages. I do kind of need to... I think I might build a lab here after all. I've got a temple already. This guy, actually, I probably should go ahead and move him out. I think we're going to go ahead and combine an army up here. And then at least when I have a lab here, this guy can research, because right now he's not doing anything. The other thing, and I had talked about it, is should I build one of these? And maybe I do. If I make one of these, I need to go ahead and make them armor so that he can raid. And I'm not even sure what I would raid. But I think if we're going to do it... Oh, there's one more thing. I'm casting... Oh, no, I'm not. I was going to do Baleful Star. Maybe I do that. I think we are going to do that. I'm going to cast Baleful Star on Ulm's capital. That's going to give him some unrest. And that unrest is going to kind of cripple some of his economy. It's going to reduce the amount of recruitment points that he has. And he already takes turmoil, so that could make him recruitment point limited instead of resource limited, which would be a good thing. I think I want to make the gear to thug this guy out. And thugging that guy out is going to be tricky. It's going to be a defense-based thug, which tend to not be as good as protection-based thugs. To do it, I'm going to need this guy to actually make this, a Robe of the Shadows. We're going to need to make a Barkskin Amulet. And then we're going to need to... We've already got... this, the Wraith Sword. So he'll have the Robe with Shadows, the Barkskin Amulet. For shoes, we could give him these. I'm not sure. That may be better. I think we'll give him these. Because with quickness, he could fatigue out, and you do not want a defense-based thug to fatigue out. The Wraith Sword will be fine. Let's take a look. What else did we say we'd do? Oh, we probably need missile protection. Okay, we're searching here. I don't have the way to make missile protection, but I'm not sure I'm going to need it. Is this guy Holy One? Yeah, okay. So he's gonna do blessing on himself and then run in. He does have a shield, but we're not going to use that shield as soon as we put that Wraith Sword on him. He's going to have very high defense. I could make a cat amulet, which would give him even higher defense, but that's not going to help against missiles, which is very likely how he's going to die. He is going to keep his hat, though. His hat's going to be very helpful. Yeah, and actually his armor sucks, too, so losing this chest armor is not going to matter. He's going to keep his hat. He's going to have Actually, very high head protection, and then 10 body protection. That's kind of okay. I think that will be all the gear we're going to put on him, and that will be okay for light thugging. This guy will be able to raid these types of provinces rather easily. He won't do good against undead, which is kind of what Midgard has been using to fill up the oceans, but I'm not sure what I'll do with him. I'm going to make him and then probably send him around to kill something. I'm not sure what. Could be Ulm. Could be Midgard if Midgard goes for a throne victory, but right now I'm not planning on turning on Midgard. And if I do, yeah, I don't know. I just sent him a message saying we definitely have a nap 1, so I'm not going to just like take these. I could potentially push it and say, hey, I'm going to need these ocean provinces. That would be a condition of us having a nap 1. But then there's a high likelihood he'll take that opportunity and sail in here and try to snipe in a throne victory, which is not something I want. So, anyway, I think we're probably just going to make a thug and then slow move him over this way. Yeah. Like, these guys actually, I think, like, we could probably have killed, no, the skeletons. Like, these are not magic attacks, but they're probably going to come. I don't really know. Yeah, I don't know if that thug's going to really do much, but we'll see. It'll be good to have 1 thug in our roster. The bark skin, yeah. I think it will work. It'll be a bit tricky. It'll be good to have that as an option, so we'll go ahead and forge that. And I think that's about it. I think that's it for this turn. So, the other thing we're doing, and I'll just mention it, is we're getting this blood economy site set up over here. I've kind of been moving these guys in position, but we'll have them set up, so it'll be 1 more province we're blood hunting. Having a lab here is also going to be nice, because I'll finally use these steel ovens, which I should have been using kind of the whole time, like to make all my sanguine dowsing rods and stuff, but I just never had the money to put a lab over here, and I finally do. So we'll do that. I also wasn't sure, especially if man was attacking, whether I'd be able to hold on to this, since it's so far away from my cap. You know, it's like 3 turns to get there. So anyway, it's now that I know I'm going to be having it, I will definitely try to take it. But yeah, anyway, the struggle continues with research. I do have more blood slaves. We're summoning Jaguar Fiends 4 times. I think I need to take any guy I have left, like even this guy, and make more of these Imp Familiars. Okay, we're making some here too. So with that, we're going to be able to basically take all of my researchers and have them with Imp Familiars, which will be nice. And yeah, I think that's it. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care.